Okay, so today we are continuing again. Last time we got this far, working on a piece that will be like this. Here I have this piece done to the point where we are going to work today on this here one. So we'll start here and work until there, and then next time we'll have this here end bit done. And as you remember, we will need 6 of these, either in the one color or whatever kind of colors you like. So let's continue working on this here one. First we'll have 2 rows of V-stitches, so it makes a sort of a V shape. I attached the green yarn and then starting the V-stitches. First chain 3. Tighten these a bit. Then a double crochet into the first stitch, but you leave the double crochet like this so you don't finish it. And then take a yarn over, skip 1 and start another double crochet there. Then yarn over through all of the 3 loops. So that's the first of the V shapes. Well, that's upside down. Then chain 1 and a double crochet, or starting a double crochet into that same stitch where the other one was. And again we leave it like this, not finishing. And a new double crochet and skipping 1. Here, and again leaving it like this, and now we have 3 stitches on the hook and yarn over through all of them. So this is what we repeat until the end of the row. Chain 1, a double crochet started into the same stitch, leave it at this point, and another one, skipping 1. And now that I have 3 loops, I pulled through all of them. And again. This is actually one of my favorite stitches. I have made whole blankets and things using just this. It's quick and easy, and then you can put so many colors into it. So just like this, continue until the end of the row. On this row there's no increases. And continue. Here I am almost at the end of the row, and now I'm making the last actual stitch into the last stitch of the previous row and pulling the yarn through those 3. And now to finish off the row, chain 1 and just 1 double crochet into that same stitch at the end. So we're leaving it like that. And now pull the green yarn through into a loop so it doesn't come apart. Some people actually put the yarn ball through it when you have to leave a stitch to wait, but I'm not doing that. And we are doing the next row, which will be red, and I have the red yarn here. There. We are doing it from the same side, so you don't turn. Instead you go to the start of the row and we'll start there using the red yarn. This is because the V-stitch looks nicer from the right side instead of the wrong side. So I'm making a stitch and chaining 3, and now we are making a row of V-stitches on top of the previous V-stitches. Into the first chain space, and then again starting a double crochet, and it goes into the gap, into the space that was left on the previous row. Otherwise it's exactly the same. but now we just skip from one space to the next. And so on. So you just continue like this until the end of the row. Again at the end of the row, and here chain 1 and into that space. And now at the end of the row we are in a slightly different spot than on the previous row. So now I'm simply making 2 next to each other, like this here, and finishing off that row there. Next time we'll need the red at the other end, so I'm cutting the red yarn here. The next row is just single crochets. I'm tightening the stretched stitch, and to get to the level of here I'm chaining 2 and then turn. Actually I'm putting this here yarn inside my stitches. Single crochet into the end of that row, and then 2 single crochets into that space, and 2 single crochets into most of the spaces, except in the middle we'll have 3, as well as at the end we will have 3. Okay, now that's been there long enough. And the middle yet, no, the next one. So when you are in the middle, make 3 single crochets into the one space, and then also at the end we'll have 3, otherwise 2. One, 2 and 3. So this increases it a bit again so that the shape stays right. And we should have 25 single crochets here now. And next row, a double crochet into each stitch. I'm first chaining 2, and I'm not counting them as a double crochet. So because of that I'm putting the first double crochet into the first stitch, and just the whole row double crochets until the end, and that will give us again then 25. So this is that row, and the next row is exactly the same. So chain 2 and don't count it as a double crochet, and 1 double crochet into every stitch, and so on. Here we are, and 1 more double crochet row, and on this row you will increase 1 stitch in the middle. So I'm starting exactly the same and crocheting double crochets through the whole row, but when I get to the middle approximately, then I'll make 2 into 1 stitch. So at the end of the row then you will have 26 double crochets. There we are, and I increased here, so these 2 stitches are in 1 stitch. Next we'll make these stripes of slip stitches over these double crochets that we've just made. I cut the green yarn there, and next we need the red yarn, and I already have a slip stitch done in it, and now we will make a row of slip stitches going across the first of the 3 rows of double crochets there. And the way this works is that you will need to have your hand and the yarn, working yarn, under your work, and you pick the stitches from the top. So I'm first inserting the hook in between the first 2. This is actually the chain, but I'm going across that too. So insert the hook through, and keeping the yarn under the work, take the yarn and pull it through and straight through the stitch. So that makes a slip stitch. And then the same in between every double crochets here. So the yarn's there, take it on the hook and bring it to the front, and then directly through the stitch. And again in between the next 2 double crochets, take the yarn, bring to the front and through the stitch. Make sure you don't tighten the stitch too much. It's better to pull it a bit loose. And again, there, get the yarn and pull through. The same until the end of the row. And this is what it looks like at the back. And there are the stitches in the front. There. And when you come to the end, make 1 extra stitch and then cut the yarn and pull it through. Next, we'll have a white row of these over the next row of double crochets. And it will be white, and the white, I still have it attached here. If you cut it and just make a slip stitch. You can move the yarn some distances here, because to finish we are going to crochet these pieces together, and those yarns will then stay inside the stitches. But here I just twist it round once so that it stays where I'm going to use it. And then exactly the same. So you put the yarn through in between 2 double crochets and make a slip stitch. Just check that this yarn doesn't pull. And then like this again. So you finish this row in the white, and then we'll just make exactly the same on the last row using the yellow yarn. So these 3 are just the same kind of rows. Here we are, the red, white and yellow stripes done, and then you can finish off the yarn ends, and next time we'll finish this. And it would be great to see what you have been making, so if you are using Instagram, please use the hashtag as well as tag me. Okay, great.